Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today I will be setting up my bullet journal for the month of May. I am completing this setup on my lunch break. So I have about 1 hour to get this whole thing said and done and ready to go for May. So I am kind of excited to see if I'll be able to challenge myself and actually get everything completed. But because I am under a limited amount of time, I am kind of limiting the items that I will be using today. So I have some Crayola Colors of the World markers, and I have light rose, very light golden, and light medium golden. I have a Tombow Furunosuke calligraphy pen, a Pigma Micron in 005, and then I also have the colored pencil version of the light rose color of the Crayola Colors of the World. And I will be using all of these writing utensils today for my setup of a tea bag and cloud theme. So if you're following me on Instagram, I did a little bit of a sneak peek photo over there recently, and I did definitely decide to stick with that. And we are just gonna jump right in. So I'm going to jump right into just getting all of my outlines sketched for my basic shapes here. I am doing, like I said, a tea and a cloud theme, but I'm keeping everything very two-dimensional. I'm not adding any type of 3D layering or anything to make it too difficult to draw because I was on kind of a little bit of a time constraint while I was filming this. So for my tea bag shapes, I've basically just combined a rectangle or a square shape, depending on the tea bag, with just a trapezoid top. And where it connects, I'm either drawing a straight line or a curved line, just depending on the tea bag again. And I'm also adding like little edging or like little doily looking edges to make it kind of a like fancier looking tea bag. These obviously aren't real tea bags that we would be putting in to make tea, right? And it's my imagination. So I just wanted them to be really, really cute. And then I'm going to surround the tea bags with clouds, and this is the same cloud border that I showed in my 9 border ideas, but instead of bordering it around my page, I'm just using it as kind of a decorative element in my layouts for this setup. On this cover page, I wanted it to be a little bit more elaborate than the rest of the pages because it is a cover page. And I do kind of need to fill up enough space on these 2 pages to make it at least kind of look like a cover page. So I'm drawing 3 tea bags and I think 3 clouds. And then I'm actually going to hand letter the word May in the middle of that cloud with my Tombow Furunosuke calligraphy pen, and then kind of start coloring. I don't believe I mentioned this in the beginning, but I am still using my B6 Archer and Olive notebook for my bullet journal. I am pretty fairly certain I should be able to get through June with this. I do have an Archer and Olive affiliate link and code that I will put in the description box and on screen if you are interested in getting a notebook from them. The B6 is, I think, my favorite size for bullet journaling. Though, if I'm being completely honest, I have only tried the Traveler's Notebook and the B6. I haven't tried an A5 yet. I might have to try that next, but at least for this year, I'm going to continue on with the B6 so that my notebooks match. Yes, like I said, I will pop that code up on screen here. You can save 10% off of any order with them using that code, and I also have a link down in the description box for you if you would like to use that as well. Moving right along, I am now getting everything kind of colored in. I chose a nice kind of muted, like very light pastel-y, like this pink is kind of a pastel-y pink. Not really, it's more of a muted pink actually. So I just chose an overall muted color palette. I didn't want to have to make too many decisions regarding color, and when I choose brighter colors, it takes me a lot longer to choose my color palettes. I'm generally just more drawn to muted colors because that's just what I like. So if I'm using bright colors, it takes me a lot longer to figure out what I want to do. Moving right along again, I am now working on my calendar page or my calendar spread. I have been using one calendar for both my content and my life planning for the last couple of months. But I really liked having the 2 calendars in January, so I figured I would give that another go as well. The calendar that I did last month, I'm not sure I liked as much as I would have if I didn't color everything in. I didn't like not being able to highlight things once they've passed and we've actually done them. So I am kind of just going to go back to this 2 calendar spread and set this up so that I can have a separate content calendar and a separate life calendar. I really liked it in January and I wanted to try it again. So I am doing the same thing here for my titles as I did on my actual cover page, but this is going to be the last time that I do this. I am putting my titles inside clouds and then putting a tea bag on either side of each title. I don't do this going forward because after I sketched the calendars out, I was having a really difficult time making each of my headers look good inside the clouds, at least, from my perspective, what I thought was looking good. So I inevitably just ended up scratching those sketches and just kind of did what felt right. For my calendar sizing for this month, each of my calendar days is going to be 3 dot grid spaces wide and 4 dot grid spaces tall. And then I will use one of those dot grid spaces for the length. I'm going to use that as just the row that I highlight and put the days of the week and the month in there as well. So while I finish getting this kind of drawn and doodled out and colored, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of music on for you to listen to. I did not sleep last night, so I am exhausted and talking makes me even more tired. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break from talking and just kind of let you listen to some music. The next 2 pages we will be working on are going to be my orders page and my currently's page. I didn't do these last month, and I talked about this a little bit in my April setup because I forgot to sketch them in, and I had such an elaborate sketch for last month that I couldn't have been bothered to erase everything and redo it. But I have been suffering. I love filling these 2 pages in, and I have absolutely no idea what's going on with orders. I ended up sticking a few things on my calendar page, but it's not working and I don't like it. So I'm so happy to be able to be putting these back in my bullet journal setup for this month because I absolutely need them to live my life as a functioning adult. This one is actually going to be quite different than what I'm usually doing because I am not separating anything into boxes. I am just kind of doing an overall header for each section. And then I'm going to be doing just a little bit of an additional drawing down on the bottom right hand corner of my spread. But that's about it. I'm not separating anything out. I haven't fully decided yet if I even want to separate anything out or if I'm just going to use my brush pen and just write reading, watching, and playing under my currently and just kind of go from there. So I don't know. I'm still up in the air, which is why this spread is staying as it is. So the tea bag, I keep accidentally trying to call them tags. So if you've heard me say that and I didn't catch it re-listening to my voiceover, I'm sorry. I totally mean to say tea bag, but in my brain, I just really want to say tag. I don't know why. Probably because they're kind of a tag shape, but regardless, that's neither here nor there. So I am drawing a little bit more of an elaborate tea bag kind of doodle down towards the bottom right-hand corner. I figured since I wasn't going to be kind of designating any spaces out, then I would kind of have the room to be able to do that. And I don't usually have a lot of extra room on these two pages when I create them. So it was nice to be able to add a little bit of additional drawing and decoration to these pages. So the last thing that I will do on these two is just kind of get everything colored in, and then we will move on to our next spreads on the following page, which is going to be my habit and my mood tracker. And that is going to be it's actually going to be completely different than what I have done so far this year in my bullet journal. So I'm actually spreading both of these across both pages. So I will have 2 calendars on each page, and then I will have my moods going all the way across the bottom. The reason that I ended up kind of making them both be on both pages is because there's only like 32 dot grid spaces vertically in this notebook, and there's 31 days in the month, and it was a little too snug for me. So I figured if I go horizontally with my chart, because I am going to be using a kind of like line graph chart to track my moods for this month, I figured if I went horizontally instead of vertically like I did back in January, I just might like it more. And so far, I already do like it more than the way that the other one was laid out. So I'm thinking that this will be good for me. I'll be tracking all of the same habits and all of the same moods. So I'm going to be taking my long-acting insulin, reading, filling in my bullet journal, and not spending any money. Honestly, I don't even know if I want to call these habits, because it's not necessarily that I'm trying to build the habits. It's more like things that I want to be accountable for and a way to track that I have actually done them. I cannot tell you how many times I just full-blown forget if I have taken my medicine. And it's a little bit concerning. So that is why it's always the first one in here on my habit tracker, because when I take it, I go in here and I mark it off, and then I know for certain if I took it or not, and I don't run the risk of accidentally taking it twice, which with insulin is not a good thing to do. Anyways, for my moods, I'm going to be tracking the same moods, which is going to be happy, sad, okay, ill, productive, and then meh or nothing. Is that all of them? Yeah, I think I left angry off this month. It wasn't intentional. I just kind of didn't add it and didn't think about it. I don't often use that mood anyway, so I don't think it's going to be much of an issue that I left it off. But yeah, I forgot that one, so whoops. So for the decorations and the doodles that are on this page, I just added a couple of clouds around my title portion of the page, and then I added another little small tea bag and clouds doodle to the left of the actual moods that I will be tracking this month. I will say that this particular doodle I think is my favorite, and I actually took a picture of it so that I could pull it into my Adobe Illustrator app and kind of sketch it out as a, actual like a vector image because I loved it so much. And I think I might try and see if I can maybe make it into a stamp. I don't know. Maybe make it into a stamp. We'll see. So I'm going to get my numbers added for my mood tracker all at the bottom. And then I will go ahead and start getting everything kind of colored in. And then I think that's going to be the last thing that I do on this particular spread is just get everything colored in. And if you made it this far in the video and you are wondering if I did actually finish this setup within my hour-long lunch period, I finished with 5 minutes to spare. So it took me roughly 55 minutes to get everything kind of drawn out and colored in, essentially. I did sketch everything out beforehand. That's something that I just kind of do throughout the month whenever I have a spare moment or I'm feeling inspired. But for the actual setup, it only took me 55 minutes. So yay, go me. So we are nearing the end of this video here, and we are going to kind of jump back and do a little bit of a final flip through. If you made it to the end of this video, I would love to see either a cloud emoji or some sort of tea emoji in the comments below. Or if you don't want to do an emoji, let me know if you drink tea. Are you a tea drinker, or are you a coffee drinker, or are you a lemonade drinker? Who knows? All right, anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!